Assalamualaikum and hello everyone. I am glad to be here today to present my descriptive speech for my assessment. My name is Siti Ashikin binti Burhanuddin and today I will be discussing a critical environmental issue that hits close to home for many of us, the ongoing crisis of flash floods in Malaysia. To start things off, let me ask you a question. Have you ever thought about what it feels like to lose everything you own to nature in a matter of minutes? Imagine, in a short time, the water suddenly rose to the level of another waist. At that moment, I was a little upset because I could not save the belongings that were swept away by the water so fast that I could only watch the moments of the belongings passing by. The flash floods incident that hit my area a few years ago provided a bitter experience for my family. If the same incidents were to happen again without any efforts and repairs from the local authorities. During the heavy rain that continued for several hours, our family was shocked to see the road conditions quickly turn into a fast-flowing river. A report from the local authorities confirmed that the main cause of our residential area being flooded was due to continuous heavy rain and a clogged drainage system. Since the incidents that befell my family, I have been following environmental reports on this issue closely, and at the same time, I have conducted additional in-depth research to deliver this speech. Today, I would like to invite you to listen and see for yourself the main causes of the flood issue in Malaysia, what serious impact it has on daily life, and what solutions are being worked on by the responsible parties to overcome this problem from recurring. Let's see what exactly is the cause that causes frequent flooding incidents. Based on reports regarding the flooding problem in Malaysia, it is influenced by two factors, including natural factors and the drainage system, which is unable to accommodate and drain large quantities of water during heavy rain. The first factor that contributes to this problem is the very high amount of rainfall when the monsoon season arrives. Malaysia often experiences seasonal monsoons that have very large amounts of water over a long period. When it rains non-stop for several weeks, the soil is no longer able to absorb water and it will cause the water to start to stagnate and overflow into the surrounding area. In addition to weather factors, poor and upgraded drainage system are also the main cause of stagnant water in urban areas. The problem is that urban areas still use fashion drains that are small or not well maintained, causing them to be unable to accommodate large quantities of water suddenly during periods of continuous heavy rain. This situation will become worse when drains become clogged due to being filled with garbage. Plastic waste and green areas are decreasing due to rapid development, resulting in rainwater not being able to flow and causing water to start rising onto the roads and surrounding residential areas. When the water starts to rise into the area of houses and main roads, the most painful phase for flood victims begins. Next, the impact of this flood is huge because it not only damages property but can also completely paralyze our daily lives. The first effect that occurs when a flood disaster will cause major damage to residents' homes and property. Imagine, thousands of families had a pure huge losses when their homes, furniture, cars, and electrical items were all damaged and covered in mud. After the floods receded, the victims had to deal with the high cost of repairing their homes, not to mention the exhaustion and emotional distress they experienced while in evacuation centers. Not only that, this flood disaster also paralyzed the transport system and stopped all the daily activities of the local community. Main roads and railway lines are often flooded, causing severe traffic jam and cutting off some villages from the outside world. This situation has forced schools to close temporarily. Business activities cannot operate and the national economy will suffer losses of millions of ringgits because all work is disrupted. Looking at the effects mentioned is indeed scary, but we cannot just watch without acting because every problem has a solution, right? In fact, there are two important strategies that our country can implement to reduce the risk of disaster from recurring. The first step to be taken by the authorities is to strengthen the flood early warning system. We need to invest in the latest weather radar technology and river water level sensors that can send information directly before flooding occurs. When there is an automatic warning siren or a direct warning message to the phones, at least residents have enough time to prepare to pack their belongings and bring important documents and have time to save themselves. Finally, a long-term strategy is essential to ensure that drainage and irrigation infrastructure across the country is improved. This means we need to widen the main drain, build underground water diversion tunnels, and ensure that the river is regularly drained and cleansed. When our drainage system is wide enough and it functions well, excess rainwater can flow quickly away from residential area and then be released into the sea. So, we can see that every problem will have a solution if we take the right action. Let's repeat the brief conclusion from what I discussed earlier. In conclusion, the issue of flooding in Malaysia is a serious annual problem caused by very heavy monsoon rains and the weakness of the drainage system. The impact of the incidents not only cause damage to infrastructure and property but also require an urgent solution through the strengthening of the early warning system as well as the comprehensive reform of the country's drainage system. The results of the previous discussions show that we should not treat this disaster as a normal annual weather phenomenon without making any drastic changes to our water governance structures. Therefore, I would like to suggest that the government and the community work together more actively to stop the act of dumping garbage into the drainage, enforce green development zones, as well as increase greater investment in more modern flood management projects. I hope this sharing can provide some awareness about the true reality of the flooding situation that has hit our country. Therefore, let us work together to protect the environment and support every effort by responsible parties to raise standards to maintain public safety. That's all. Thank you.